Hey everybody, it's Aquila and this is a Lefty Nerd podcast. Welcome to my channel. This is episode 60. I shouldn't try to do singy stuff because that sounds terrible. See how shiny my lips are? So Miss Z got a lip gloss making kit for Easter from her nanny. That sounds weird. We don't have a nanny. She calls her grandmother nanny. So we made a lip gloss today, and of course I had to test it, right? So, yeah. Alright. So you can find me on Instagram as aquilladahun. You can find me on Instagram as a Lefty Knitter Podcast. You can follow me on Ravelry. We have a group there, not very active. But I do try to keep my project pages up to date as best as possible. That's not always the case. I am much better than some. I'm getting weird light, so I'm trying to sit back. I showed this on the last episode, so if you're new to my channel, welcome, and welcome back to any people that have been on and watched my videos before, so thank you for that. Last episode, which is weird because I always round up my episodes on Saturday, so then I'm always recording on Sunday too to start my episode, so it's I want to say last week, but it's really not because it was yesterday. I showed you the start of a project. Well, other than weaving in the ends, it's done. I even blocked it today. Woohoo! The sun was out. It made it dry really fast. So I finished the Lana cowl. This cowl is by Nancy Whitman. It is a paid-for pattern on Ravelry, and it uses fingering weight US size 5 needles, which I followed because I did not gauge swatch. I had enough scrap yarn, not so much scrap, it's now scrap yarn because it'll be in my scrap blanket because I don't think I have enough. Oh, I wanted to show you guys all the projects I've made with these yarns. I'll do that in the next clip. I've used these yarns, both of them, in 4 different projects. I think that's pretty awesome. So now I don't have much left because it is very minimal scrappy left here, right? That'll go in my blanket. I do have a scrappy blanket. I don't show it very often. It's just the granny stripe with all my leftovers. All right, let me show you the cow. Here it is. I pinned it a little funny and it has a little bit of points happening, but that's okay. It has some stripey action at the top and it's bandana style, so it's connected only right there. Again, I didn't weave in my ends. Let me pop this bad boy on. You know, I tried it on earlier and I was like, I like it. It's not my favorite cowl I've ever made, but it's very, I don't want to use the word flimsy, but it's got a lot of drape to it, so it kind of does its own thing here, right? So I can kind of tuck it around. And the edge, this edge is called a rolled edge, and it does roll, but the rest of it still rolls because it's stockinette with a little bit of texture. I wish it stayed more flat. I'm not going to be angry at that because it's the nature of knitting. The knit side always curls because it's tighter than the purl side, if you didn't know that. Most of the time, that's the case of why. I like it though. Okay, it was so quick. So quick! I was going to use a third color. I was going to use black right here. I'll go over my yarns again, since maybe you're a new viewer and this is your first episode. I used, the purple is Breediculous Yarns, and it's called the Galaxy colorway, and it's her sparkle fingering weight. 438 yards. She's local to me. She moved and then she came back. The other yarn is Yarn Rescue. And this is a Falkland fingering solid. It is 100% Falkland wool. It was a 50-gram ball, 210 yards, and the colorway is strawberry. I was out of focus. I was waiting for it to focus. So fast, guys. I had this in my queue for quite some time, and I've wanted to make it, and I finally was like, just gonna do it. Just doing it. I'm doing it. I would make this again. I would totally make this again. It was really fast. The bottom part does have a little bit of texture. I don't know if you can even see that. There's a couple of pearl bumps throughout, randomly, strategically. I'm not quite sure. It's probably strategic. Yeah, I like it. I think it's pretty beautiful. I think it looks better not on me. There we go. Oh, I decided finally to whip out my sewing machine because even though fabric masks are not, you know, they're not blocking everything, right? It is still a barrier between you and someone else. I am not going to wear this mask and then defy all the rules by the CDC and go up to somebody and hug them. I'm still going to say 6 feet away. Except for people that live in my household. There's Mr. Bo. He has an Elvis one. So I did his first. The pattern, I got it from... The website was called peanutpatterns.com. It's free. It comes in a bunch of sizes, from kid sizes all the way up to like extra large sizes. I made a few. I screwed up on a couple, and you know what? I don't care. John's is fine. His fabric is the same on both sides. The inside, so it's reversible. And these are hair ties, because I didn't have any extra elastic. I don't think I own an elastic, actually. I don't know. I probably do. I screwed mine up and did the wrong panels together. So I'm Two-Face. And mine is Halloween.
But it's kind of cool.
And I love it. It's Halloween.
But more importantly,
Elvis.
I panicked when I tried mine on for fit, and I look so weird.
No, you don't.
I look weird.
No, you can't listen to your youngest. She doesn't know anything.
Yeah, my kid called me a clown. And then she said, "Daddy, you don't look like you. Your belly looks like you, but your face doesn't look like you." So that made me have a good cry.
Yeah, it is what it is. She got one. She wanted the pink flowers. And the other side is like princessy fabric. Now, granted, John and Michaela have been doing the majority of the shopping. John still has to go out on the road sometimes for work. And I have not went out really to a store other than one store, and Hazel has not been out to any stores. She has been home or quarantined to the yard or hiking trails, and we are not coming in contact with people. Of course, MJ, Michaela wanted just black. I didn't think I had enough black, so hers is black and gray. And I screwed up her first one, and hers was gonna be black and gray like this. So now we have an extra, but that's okay. That's okay. They were not difficult to make. They do have, the sides are open. So if you wanted to slip some sort of filter in, you could, to make it a little more safe. Again, this is not to stop from getting it. It is to help possibly be another barrier of getting it, from getting it. So they're not saying you shouldn't, but they don't also want you wearing the medical grade masks that are really intended for the medical people right now. They need them. They need them more than just me, who's sitting at home and not going to stores. So, yeah. So I took a couple hours and made those. I made one for my aunt, who is also, she has COPD, so she is more susceptible. She still has to go grocery shopping. She lives on her own, so she still has to get out and do those things. So I think she said she was going to throw some coffee filters in there. Again, any extra layer, I don't see where it's hurting. It's not hurting anything. That's how I see it. So, all right. I'm going to go find all the projects that I made with those two yarns because I think that'll be really fun and show you guys. Okay, I found everything. So, you saw Lana. This has both of the yarns, right? So there's 3 other projects for each color. We'll start with purple because these were the most recent thing I made. My Bowie mitts. My Bowie mitts have the galaxy in the cuff. So there it is. That's 1 and 2. And then I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Casual Fashion Queen is the designer. Acheron, I think is the way it's pronounced. The Acheron hat. And so there is that galaxy again in this hat. And then the last project that has galaxy, the ridiculous yarn in it, is my Chimera sweater. My Chimera sweater also has the pink in it too. So I think that's pretty fun. So this is the Chimera by Tanis Laval. It's a DK weight, and I have showed this many times. I only had the green in DK, this was in DK, and this yellow speckly was in DK. Everything else is fingering held double. So the galaxy is held double, and the pink is held double. Super fun. All right, so now to the pink. I did use it in the Compass sweater for Miss Z. That's a Tin Can Knits pattern. It's in the Strange Brew book. So I definitely made this a Strange Brew sweater because it is using all kinds of yarns and all kinds of patterns from the book. Uses this fun pattern with these 2 colors. And then there's the pink down at the bottom. I made the Compass cow with a kit that I had, and I just incorporated the Compass pattern into the bottom of the sweater because it wasn't quite long enough and I wanted it longer. And I needed more colors because I didn't have enough of this teal color. So there's the pink again. And the first thing I used the pink in was the Typhoon shawl. Guy designer, can't think of the name. It's in my project pages, but it's intended to use a self-striping yarn with a solid. So this is a self-striping, this green, gray, and black mixed with the solid pink. And that's my Typhoon shawl. And that one's fun. That one's really bright. And I think that one's really cool. So sometimes you are like, what do I use my self-striping in? What else can I make instead of just socks, you know, hats, whatever. And because it's just these really short rows you're doing, because you're only going so many rows, so many stitches across, back and forth, right? You still get your good stripes from your yarn. Because if you did it in a sweater, you're getting really thin stripes. You do it in a sock, it's meant to be what, like, kind of the stripy width it should be. So this gives that same, because you're going back and forth pretty frequently. So there's all the patterns. There's, you know, how many things? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because 2 of them have both in it. So that's pretty fun. I really do try to utilize all of my yarn as much as I can until I'm down to pretty much nubbins, and then it goes into my blanket. So I don't put, I have Ziploc bags that I put these little nubbins left, because, you know, crochet uses so much, it's not going to go very far. So I don't put yarn in there until it's down to these nubbins. I store it somewhere else with the labels still, so I remember what it is, and I try to weigh what I have left so my Ravelry stash is accurate. So if I'm like, oh, I want to make Lana, how many yards do I have left? Oh, I have 216 yards left. I know I have enough to make this. So That's another good reason to kind of keep your stuff updated, because you'll just have partial skeins sitting in your stash and, you know, not utilize them maybe the way you could be utilizing them if you were proactive with keeping your projects and your stash up to date. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right word I should be using. But, all right. On to the next clip. Okay. It is now Thursday.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
It's Thursday. I'm not confused. It's Thursday. All right. Yeah, we're drinking wine. I'm going to attempt to make French onion soup, which I've never done before. Yeah, that's why we opened wine, to put it in the French onion soup. I don't think I bought enough of the floof, which is the mohair, for the Sorrel sweater. I think I looked at the numbers for the cropped sweater. I have some floof downstairs. It's white floof, and I could do maybe the ribbing on the bottom and the armbands. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe it just won't be as long as I want it to be, but it's not going to be cropped. So it's definitely probably going to be not 3/4 length sleeves and maybe right above the elbow sleeves. We'll have to see. I've gotten pretty far though, and I wanted to, not really far, but I split for the sleeves, and I wanted to show you guys where I'm at because I'm pretty excited about it. I just started my second ball of mohair. And I'm probably, I don't know, 2 inches, and I'm supposed to do 10 for a regular full-length sweater, 10 inches, plus, no, 15 for the full length. 10 for the cropped, 15 for the full length. That's where I'm at. Lots of background noise. Again, we are all quarantined. I mean, you know, whatever. It is what it is. Today we've had crazy gale. They had like gale warnings, and the wind was ridiculous. Really ridiculous. I've seen people post that some of their trees have fallen down and stuff. So, yeah. You can see where I've transitioned so much from the first color, and now it's strictly the second color, and I'm not alternating anymore. But it's not very, like, it's not hugely different. The top had a lot of, like, pink speckly bits, and this doesn't have any pink speckly bits in it at all. So, I don't know. It's really cool. I did weigh it to see how much I had left, because it's usually 1/3 of your yarn will go towards sleeves and 2/3 goes towards the body. So I want to have enough for sleeves, because I think the third color I'm not even going to get into in the sleeves. It's just going to be the third color is going to be body. I think. I'm not following this correctly because I didn't realize it said 4 colors and I used 3. And then I bought only floof for cropped and not full length. So I'm winning. That's a win. That's a win. Nothing else has been cast on or worked on. Although we have a friend, Mike, who has a grandbaby on the way. He already has a grandson. But he has a little girl coming, and he was like, do you think you could make me a hat? And I was like, sure. And some mitts, okay. And some socks and a blanket. And I was like, we'll see. So I asked him color choices, and he was like, pink and purple, purple and pink. I think purple was first, and then pink. So Z and I went downstairs to the big box store acrylic bin and found some good baby yarn to use. Well, not all of it's baby yarn, and not all of it's the same because weight. I don't have labels at all for these 3. So this is the purple I found. It's a nice like lavender purple. And then a plain white, because I think I'm gonna pull out on one of my books with some color work in it and find like something cutesy. Or I'm just gonna do what I normally do for little cutesy girl hats, and I knit with one color, and then I do a little bit of white, and then I do like just the little V hearts in it with a second color. I've done that for many a hats. And then we found this color, which is, I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but it's got pinks and purples and white and mint greens in it. So, yeah, I think I already know the mitt pattern I'm going to use is the Tin Can Knits one that's free. I can't remember what it's called. I want to say Rye, but I think that's the hat. But they're little mitts, and they have like a pearl bump section that goes down the one like a panel. So I'm definitely doing the hat, and I think I'm not going to make it a rounded hat. I want to knit till the right length and then do a 3-needle bind off at the top and do 2 pom-poms, because I think those are adorable. So I think that's what I'll end up doing for the hat. And then maybe I'll crochet some sort of like car seat size blanket. We'll see what kind of yarn I have left after the fact. Oh, the pink I have, this pink is very hot pink, and it's a patent, and it's definitely a heavier weight. It's probably a worsted, where these are probably like sport. But I won't be using a ton of this in probably the hat, maybe just for the hearts or a little bit of the color work, so it's not going to be a big deal. And maybe the mitts I'll make out of this. I don't know what yarn that pattern calls for. I made Z a pair. I'll have to look. I have to look it up. I haven't looked up anything. I don't know when I'm going to be casting this on. Maybe tonight. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. The light keeps changing. It's crazy in here. Alright, so yeah, there's the Sorrel, and then future knitting. And possibly crochet. Okay guys, it is Saturday, so let's round up this week's video. I showed you some yarns that I was going to make some baby hats with, and I showed you these. I finished 2. So I just kind of I go on Ravelry, and I think I looked up the Tin Can Knits free pattern to look up how many stitches they cast on. They were casting on with a worsted weight though, and I was not. So I went down some needle sizes and still used their numbers, I believe. So I used a size, this is my 3, US 3, which is 3.25. This is my clover ones. I do like these. I know some people don't like working with bamboo and wood needles, but I don't mind the clover. They have a good join too. The other ones are actually Susan Bates, and I don't mind these either. So for the ribbing, I used size 3s, and for the rest of the hat, I used size 5s. I can't remember what that's called. I mean, these are circular knitting needles, but when the join, not the join part, because here's the join, and the join on these I think is smooth. These are, like I said, the Susan Bates. But when it has the curve in the needle, I can't remember what that's called. Somebody told me what it was called at a knit night one time, and I just can't remember. Then the tips of these, of course, are not the greatest, but they're fine for what I'm doing. So I cast this one up first, and 72 stitches, a 2x2 rib, and then I knit a little bit of stockinette with the main color. Then I switched to the white. Now the white and the pink are a little bit heavier. These might be considered maybe a DK or a light worsted, and those other ones are definitely probably more sport, or DK maybe, I don't know. And I was gonna do my little hearts, but I decided against it and went with these little kind of diamond shapes, or they almost look like flowers. I almost wish I would have had a yellow and put a yellow in the center stitch, but it's okay. And then I knit to about, I think it was 5.5 inches, and then did my decreases. I just did some standard decreases, 72 divided by 8, so every 8th stitch, so I knit 6 and then knit 2 together all the way around, and then I did a regular knit row, and then I would knit 5 and knit 2 together, so you decrease down to your 7, and it gives you that, you know, kind of pinwheel look to the top of the decreases. I don't mind that look. I think it's cute. So yeah, I think this one turned out super adorable. It looks kind of big, but it's not. I mean, the babies due midsummer, so by the time winter comes, I feel like this will be very appropriate. And then the other hat, I used straight up just this yarn, and I wasn't sure what this yarn was going to do, if it was just going to be like variegated. I did not have a label for it anymore. Somebody might be actually would be able to tell me. It's a big box store yarn, so it's like a Patton's or a Caron or one of those. Like I said, I got it probably at Michael's or Joann's or AC Moore, which is the other craft store here. And this one I cast on 72 stitches. Also, I knit to 6.5 inches tall, and then I did a 3 needle bind off. And this did some spiraling, some spiral pulling, I guess you want to call it. It's cute. It's really cute. I like this yarn. I think if I make the mitts, I'm going to use this yarn to have a matching set, and then possibly make a set of mitts in this, although you don't really need 2 sets of mitts, so I might just make some more hats. And if they don't want them, I'll donate them. But I love the square topped hats. I think they look adorable on babies. Well, Hayes had one when she was like 2 or 3, and I think it looked adorable. I think she still has one that still fits. It's orange. It's some hand spun. And I just think they look adorable. They're adorable. So yeah, those are both done. So I wanted to show those. That's the only other thing I've done. I didn't work on Sorrel really any more than I think I showed in the last video, because then I was like transfixed on working these, because small projects where they gave me free reign. They told me purple. That was really it. Purple, pink. And I was like, okay, well that's simple. So I just kind of like went with it, and I've sent them pictures already, and they really liked them. We have a robin that is building a nest outside of our window. So I'm in our dining room, and there's a window here and a window in front of me. And the cat tower is in the window in front of me also, and there's a robin that's been building a nest. Well, the first attempt she made, the wind blew it out. So this one is like sticking. So we had to Google, because we weren't sure exactly. And all birds probably build their nests a little differently, so I did Google how a robin builds a nest. And they work from the inside out, and they use like, you know, twigs and all the found objects that they find, grass, whatever. But to glue it all together, they use like mud. Hi. All right, you're a goofball. I was telling him about the bird building a nest. It's really cool, isn't it? What did you do? Oh, yeah, you scraped some skin off your foot there.
It's okay, but I'm okay.
Good.
Don't hurt anymore.
Don't hurt anymore. And so they take the elbow of their wing and they push from the inside out. Now I saw her doing some sort of motion that I wasn't sure what she was doing, because I can't see exactly into the nest, but she was like crouching down, and it almost looked like she was a bull, and she was like pushing her her legs backwards, like she was trying to do that motion. But I'm pretty sure she was crouching and then like using her wing, like it said, to push out the inside of the circle to build the nest. They use the worm casings, which has mud in it, to help glue it together. I found that interesting too. I didn't even think of like they're only eating the inside of the worm, but whatever, like mud off the worms, worm casing, it's all part of the nest, and that's what really helps it keep its structure. So we're really excited to kind of keep an eye on this and watch them grow. I'll insert a little bit of a video right here. I'm gonna do a signal like this so I can hopefully remember to do that video right here. The funniest part was Mia, our cat, which I did a little video of her for at the end of this. It's not of this, because that would have been hilarious. She's on the cat tower, and she got so excited because she saw the bird fly up into the nest that she practically Supermaned into the window and then like slid down the window, kind of like a cartoon. You would see somebody run into a door or a window and then just kind of melt down the window. That was her. It was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing to tell Michaela what had happened because she had heard it in her room and came out, and I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop laughing. The cat's fine. There was actually a chair up next to the window also because we have 3 cats. The tower only holds 2, and they need another place to perch so they can watch out. So she just fell onto the chair. Like I said, she was fine. And then the next day, my boy cat, my oldest, Vaughn, did the same thing. And it wasn't quite as hilarious as Mia doing it, but it was hilarious. So, tomorrow is Easter. That's not appropriate for Easter.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know how many you watch with kids, but I found this interesting that our state, our governor, declared the Easter Bunny essential, so he will come to your house. The part I found odd about that is there are families in need out there, and there are kids that are very excited about that the Easter Bunny is now essential and he will be allowed to not be quarantined to come to your house. You parents probably kind of understand where I'm getting at here, is that there are people that are not so lucky to be able to get out, to do certain things, or even order things, because Amazon has definitely put like shipment back dates on everything. We've just looked at curiosity wise, but it was like 4 and 5 weeks out if it wasn't essential items. So yeah, but the Easter Bunny is an essential employee. You can look it up. You can Google Maryland. He put like a whole certificate up and everything. Sorry, I just found that interesting. Again, eggs are like an essential item. So I think we're gonna wait to actually dye our Easter eggs until after Easter. That way we don't just do a handful, and we can do like a whole dozen. Just saying. I don't know. That's my thought process, I guess. All right, I'm gonna end this. I haven't had the brain power to like think of new things to cast on, or what to cast on, or I don't know. I'm just, not that I'm not feeling like knitting, because obviously I'm knitting, but these are very, very mindless. Now my sweater right now is very mindless too, so I should be working on that. But sometimes I feel like I need to add something into the mix. Maybe I'll have some mitts going on in the next episode. I don't know. All right, I think we're going outside. We talked about camping in our yard, but it's gonna drop down to like the low 40s tonight, so I think we're gonna have to put off camping for another week. Although we did a movie night last night, and that was awfully fun, and we all watched as a family, so that was really nice. And yeah, so I hope everyone is staying as safe as possible. I hope everybody's well and healthy. I hope everybody's families are also healthy, and yeah. Tell me how you're coping with all of this. Because it's definitely been a roller coaster of emotions. So, alright. I think we're going to go set the tent up, though, and play all day in it. Not in it, but in the yard, and have the tent, and do whatever. It was very windy the last 2 days, and there was no way, if it was that windy, we had, like, gale warnings. that we were going to be able to set the tent up, because it probably would have blown away. I mean, stake it, but it still would have probably made a hot mess of pulling at the tent too much. And we don't need our tent ruined just because we wanted to put it out during a gale warning. Yeah. All right. Until the next time, see you guys.